What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of 52 Books. Last week was amazing. It was really good. If you haven't watched last week's video, click the button right up here. I forget which hand it is, This week, we are reading What Shall We Say by Thomas G. Long. And the subtitle is Evil Suffering in the Crisis of Faith. What shall we say? As always, I don't know what this is about. We're going to get a gander at it, and we're going to get it. You already know what it is. Let's get it. Cue background music. This book is different. This book addresses the Theodicy question. And it's not even a question. It's more of a paradox. It's like, so Theodicy is, if God is all good, then why is there evil in the world? Why does he allow suffering? That, in a nutshell, is Theodicy. And throughout the text, as I have read so far, it talks about how throughout history, people tried to wrestle with that term, that question, that paradox. So in November 1st, 1755, there was a great earthquake in Lisbon. It was a holy day that day, and a lot of people were in churches. The earthquake happened and a lot of people died. The question was then raised, where is God? Why did God let this happen? Why did God allow this to happen? Is there even a God? And so that's what the author of this book goes through. He goes through everything that happened in Lisbon and how the mindset at the time was, if tragedy struck, if something happened, then you obviously did something to anger God and you're being punished for your sin. And so a remedy for back then was they'll treat you for your illness, and part of that treatment included asking for penance, asking for forgiveness, doing penance. It included that. So modern day, it would look like you go to the doctor's office because something is wrong, and they prescribe you Tylenol, and then they say, pray 5 times a day and ask for forgiveness so that you can be healed. Because the mindset is, God is obviously punishing you for a sin that you have done. In the text, the author talks about 2 types of providence. The first, particular providence. Particular providence says that God is active in the world, both intentionally and through his divine acts. He is responsible for the fruitful harvest, and he is responsible for the famine. He sends sickness and he also sends health. He provides the good and he also allows the bad to happen. And so God is very active in particular providence. Then there is general providence, which states that God cares for the world, not through intervention or divine action, but more so of sustaining it and keeping it the same in its sustenance. So you have particular providence where God is active in everything, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And then you have general providence, which says that God is active, but he's only active in sustaining what we see before us today. And then we get the quote from famous German philosopher Gottfried von Leibniz. I think I'm saying it right. I know I'm saying it wrong. His name is right here. He states that God knows what he is doing. So on the Theodicy side, he's all with it, and everything that happens is in God's hands, and God knows what he is doing, even though we don't understand it. And so he places these 4 claims. And these 4 claims are: there is a God. God is all powerful. God is good. There is innocent suffering. So those are the 4 claims. What happens with the 4 claims is that it opens up a paradox when you talk about evil. This opens up the impossible chess match. And they call it the impossible chess match because you cannot have all 4 claims and still be good. But remember, this is all from a human's mindset. This is all from a person's mindset, because we don't have the mind of God. There's this Scottish philosopher named David Hume, Hume. He takes the 4 questions and he says, this is why it's a paradox. This is why it is an impossible chess match. He says that if God is willing to prevent evil, but he is not able to, then he is impotent. The second thing he states is, if God is able but not willing to prevent evil, then he is malevolent. And the third point he states is, if God is both able and willing to prevent evil and he doesn't, then that makes him evil. And so you are at this standoff chess match where you can't make a right move. One of the 4 has to go. Either there isn't a God, or God is not all powerful, or God is not good, or the innocent suffer. There's innocent suffering. One of them has to go. So innocent suffering can't go because we see it all around us. That leaves the characteristics of God existing, his power, and his characteristic. Is he good? Is he all powerful? Does he exist? That's what this book is talking about. What shall we say? What do we say when evil happens? This is a good book. Like and subscribe to the channel so that we can see how this thing ends on Friday. What do we say? Peace.